All right. We are live. Listen up, everybody. Welcome in. It's Michael Wine, aka Gundamonium Works. I have been gone for way too long, and now I'm back. So here we are. We'll wait for some people to get in here and start up the chat and go from there. I've been off air for I think 10 weeks total. I'm trying to remember. It was at least 8. I was gone. I was out of town for 8, but I think I missed like one of the first 2. No, like the week before I left, I think I missed that week as well. Had to reschedule that one, and then I was gone for 8. And when I got back, I got back on a Saturday, but it was just too much to try to get back in and do a broadcast that week. So I took another week off. But here we are. We're back. We're live. We're back in the groove. And so I guess I can get into why I was gone, or at least briefly talk about that. Before the last broadcast I did, I kind of went back and looked at it to remember what exactly I had said prior to leaving town. And it was talking about my mother. My mother had pancreatic cancer, and she died on February 15th of this year. So that's what I was dealing with. That's why I've been gone for so long. I was executor of her estate, so I had a lot of work to do after she passed away, and so that was really why I was gone so long. I was in Arizona for 8 weeks. I don't think I did a broadcast the week before I left, but I did post some pictures of what I was building over there. It was really the only thing to keep me sane while I was going through this whole process. What is up, George? Good to see you, man. I'm so happy to be back. You have no idea. I'm glad you showed up, man. I was hoping you would show up tonight. So anyway, I'm just kind of recapping why I was gone. I was gone for 8 weeks over in Arizona, handling all the estate problems, issues with that. We're still not quite done yet, but it was enough for me to get back home. I finished enough of it, I should say, where I could come back home, finish everything from here. Really, the only thing that's left is the sale of the house. It's in escrow right now. So we're getting close, but there were times where I was just sitting at the dining room table, what was left of it really, with a mountain of paperwork and just a pile of just so much stuff in our house, trying to clear the house. I'm just sitting there thinking, this is never going to end. I'm never going to get out from under this. It was just such a stressful, long process. And I was away from my wife for 8 weeks. It was. I just cried a bit when I saw her at the airport, because it was just like, oh my God, I'm finally home. Anyway, so I was there, and my aunt was such a huge help being there, being my partner and helping me through the whole process there. And she lives in Arizona, so she's my boots on the ground. She was there, taking care of my mother before I got there, and I showed up on a Monday, the 13th of February, and my mother passed away 2 days after I got there. So, she was just waiting for me to get there, really, at that point. But, having gone through that experience once with my father 6 years ago when he passed away, it was probably easier to. I mean, it's never easy losing a loved one, losing a family member, a parent, but having gone through it once, I knew what was to expect, so it was a little bit easier to get through that process. I knew what was going to happen. I recognized all the signs, and it's strange how the body works, when it's getting ready to leave. And so you kind of know what's going to happen. And it was a little bit easier as far as that's concerned. But the grieving, we got through the grieving process, and then we got to work, and it was just like constant 7 days a week, doing something, fighting with the banks, trying to get her accounts on, the bank accounts were frozen for 2 weeks. It was a nightmare. But the one thing that I did do is I brought a kit with me to keep me sane. And I'm kind of fumbling around with the weapons here. You probably know what it is if you were following me at all. What's up, Georgia? Maybe easier, but still not easy. Yeah, you're correct. I mean, it's never easy, but like I said, having gone through it once and being there in person, I knew what to expect, so it wasn't such a shock, But anyway, these are the weapons here that I'm messing around with. This giant axe, and this gun, which is kind of cool. It's got this little. I keep knocking this piece off. It's like a scope end. I'm gonna put it back on here. Try not to knock it off again, because I didn't use any glue. It doesn't really need any glue. It's just like most Bandai kits, but this kind of has like a funky little thing. The clip comes out, and then this kind of locks the handle in place. But that's cool. So what I was building, what was I building? I was building this guy, the Yolopark Optimus Prime, and I gotta say, I kind of blew through this way too fast. I kind of expected it to take me longer, but I did just anytime I had downtime, I was working on this thing. It was the only thing to keep me sane through this whole process. And this guy's huge. I mean, if I lay him down here, I'm trying to think if I can. I'll just use this. I've got a ruler here. He stands. Well, let's put it this way. The top of the antenna on his head is 12 inches, and it's a massive kit. Massive amount of runners, massive amount of parts. The level of detail that goes into this this kit, and the number, like just the number of parts, the layers of detail. I think I lost count, but the torso alone had something like almost 200 parts just for the torso, not including the head or anything else. And I was kind of counting the legs. I think the legs were just about the same. It was just a huge, huge project. But I will say, having not had any spray booth or any access to paint or anything, there's no way I'm going to take this apart and paint it. It's just, there's so many layers and everything fits so tightly and so perfectly. Trying to take it apart would probably destroy it. I mean, I ended up only breaking one piece going together because it has to kind of snap together a certain way. And that's one thing about the instruction book on this kit is, I gotta get my thing out. I'm no Transformer fan, but the model's looking awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. And the Shockwave, I think, is going to be just as nice. But one thing I did notice, that the similarities between the Shockwave kit is it looks like the feet are the same. So they probably do what a lot of Bandai kits do, is they took a lot of similarities in the runners and just kind of tweaked them a bit to make the character look a bit different, but they're able to reuse those same molds for different Transformers. But going back to what I was talking about, if you're going to paint this thing, I would recommend painting it as you go, just because, like I said, trying to take it apart is kind of insane. One of the cool features about this is the chest does open, and you can, let me get this, you got to fold this down like that, and then this opens up, and you see the Allspark there. So that's kind of cool. It took me a while to figure out how that was supposed to work. I couldn't figure out how to unfold it, and I was like, well, I'll just figure that out later, because I felt like I was going to break the damn thing. But I was warned about like the chest piece being, or some of the chest parts being hard to fit or having trouble fitting. I didn't have any fit issues at all. But like I said, there was one part during the leg assembly that I did break because it has to like snap over something, and there's a way to kind of get it to go on without doing that. So by the time I got to the second leg, I was able to figure that out, but I did have to glue one piece just because half of it kind of snapped, and I had to glue it back together with some super glue. So But all the hands, every finger, all the articulation, every single finger has its own joint. Each piece had to be assembled separately. Um, it's just massive, and it's really fun. It was a fun build. I can't imagine how much longer it would take to actually paint this thing because there's just so many parts. But I mean, you can see the back. Each one of these red pieces is an individual piece. Each one of these, metal pieces is an individual piece. There's just so many little tiny layers that go into creating one section of this whole kit. The back of the legs, these are on springs. There's actually springs you have to install. So when you bend the leg, it sucks that in and allows you to bend the leg even further, giving you more range of motion. There's a couple of springs and then two other metal parts, and those are in the shoulders, and that's to help strengthen those joints. So they did a good job. I think there's one in the waist as well, where like the center peg where the waist joint is. So they did a really good job of reinforcing the build, so it's sturdy, it's heavy, it's stable. Like you can set this sucker down and set his feet, and it just doesn't move. You can rock the table, and that sucker he'll stay standing. So anyway, I'm gonna wet my whistle here a little bit. Got a few people on. I did use this was my primary sanding stick that I got from Razor, and I used the crap out of this. I did start snapping a Buster Gundam as well. I actually ordered it on Amazon and had it delivered to Arizona, so I had something else because I got this done a lot sooner than I thought I would. So I needed something else to do, but that's still in the box. I actually had one in my stash, but I just bought something so I could build something. And when I got back, I opened that one up, the one I have here, and I'd forgotten that I had a resin dress-up kit for that one and decals. So I may just transfer all that stuff to the box that I'd opened and started building, and then I'll go back and maybe sell that one. I don't know. It was like I said, it was just something to try to, in my downtime, what little time I did have downtime, was to just try to keep me from going insane, because there was so much work to do. And like I said, it was just constant 7 days a week, no time off, headache after headache. And, now we've got family issues. Now that I'm back, all of a sudden there's that dynamic has taken hold, and there's a problem child causing turbulence, but I'm not going to talk about that. Anyway, so the big question is, what am I going to do next? I know George would probably say another Macross kit, and I actually have a couple here to choose from. And I'm taking this lead from a friend of mine, a friend of a lot of people in this room, probably, Dan Salas, still in California. He likes to, when he gets done with a project, he will set 5 or 6 kits out and just start looking at them. And whichever one starts calling, he'll take one away, and then he's got maybe 4 left, and he'll start like, okay, which one's calling? Which one feels better? And then he ends up deciding on what he's going to build next or doing that. So I've kind of done the same thing. I got 3 kits sitting here. I'll bring them up here and show them one by one. And I'll let you guys. Yeah, you're famous, Dan. I was hoping you were on to hear that. Here's Dan. Dan's in the room. Build Armor 130. Oh, you know what? I hadn't done. I do have something that, I'm going to go get it, and I'll add that to the choices here, and then you guys can help me decide tonight what to do next. And once you see what I have, you might change your mind, George. But I'm going to go pull the only 135 armor kit I have, and that's a Tamiya N1 or M1A1 Abrams with photo edge. So I'm going to go get that. That'll be the first one to show. All right. So let me take old Prime off here, get him out of the way. This is just taking up space. I'll be right back. Let me shove him back in the cabinet. Get over there. You big monster. Good Lord. That thing is huge. Boston Bruins are losing right now. Bummer. Okay, so first up, this is what George was. Not George. This is what Dan. Yeah, it was George. This is what George was asking about. He wanted me to do a 135 armor. Actually, I do have another. I could say. I'm sorry. I lied. I forgot. I do have another 135 armor, but it's the main battle tank, Gundam tank. I have that, so I could pull that as well. That's a pretty big box. And actually, Dan is responsible for getting that for me because he saw it at a model swap meet and asked me. He called me. He's like, "Hey man, this tank's here and it's like really cheap. Do you want it? I'll get it for you." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So he got that and build armor 135. Yeah. So what I did is I years ago, a friend of mine. When I was in California, this is quite a long time ago. I had this for a long time. I was over at his house. He's a guy, he does his own reloading for ammo, gun ammo, and so he's got a reloader and stuff like that. He's a guy I used to work with as a technician a long time ago. And we were talking about models. And I said, man, if I ever build an arm, like a tank, I'd like it to be like an M1 Abrams. That'd be cool. And we're over at his house and he goes into his garage and he pulls out this model and he goes, well, I'm never going to build it. And he gives it to me. So I was just like, what are the odds of that? I'm saying, oh, I'm going to build an M1A1 Abrams if I do a tank model, So I took the liberty of going to Edward and buying 2 photo etch kits. I don't even know if this is going to be accurate, to be honest, because it may not even be for this year of an Abrams tank. It's supposed to be an M1A1 tank. So this is the exhaust. There's a bunch of vents here. And then there's, it says 4 M1A1 for Tamiya. So this is a bunch of grills, some armor plating, various little hatch rings, I think, stuff like that. So I love adding photo etch to this kind of stuff. So that's one. Hey Nick. Oh, hey Nick. Hey, what's up, Nick? How you doing, man? Have I seen you on here before? I mean, I'm really glad you joined. Don't get me wrong. I'm so glad to be back online. It's been so long, and I've just been chewing at the bit here. So, first one on deck is this. Now, next, I'm going to bring up 3 other kits here. So we got first one, Bandai Ingram, next generation, nice kit. Don't know what I have heard some complaints, I think, about the fabric stuff that they use to create the joints. So it's kind of wonky, kind of hard to use. I might end up going with shrink tubing or something like that. Pop this off for a second here. There we go. So I got this one. I could do the tank, or I could do this one. And then the last 2 are 2 that I had just some of my most recent purchases. The Regal Scout type or the armored VF1J. So that's what I got to choose from. So let's start. Oh yeah, PE in full effect. Yeah, I did the same thing with the 148 Tamiya F14. And Dan, again, I'm going to give Dan a shout out here. He's the one that told me about it. He found one on eBay or something like that was like $60. And he's like, dude, this is, if you're ever going to build a modern jet, armored VF1, that's your vote, Dan? Okay, we got 1 vote for armored VF1. And then I think George is going for the M1 tank. What was I saying? It was Dan again, I think, that told me about that F14, the Tamiya 148 scale. And basically, it's probably the best model jet that Tamiya's ever produced. The fit was just unreal. How easily, how nicely everything fit. There was not one single like warped piece or something didn't fit quite right. Everything fit so perfectly. And then I bought the Big Ed from Edward Photo Etch, and it was like the most massive piece of photo etch kit you could possibly get. Even the afterburners and the engines were photo etched. I had to assemble those, like they're stacked in layers. I got photos on my page of that thing. You can go through it and see all that. But yeah, I love doing photo etch when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially like I used photo etch on my Macross SDF1 build as well. So that came with the photo etch kit. So these don't have photo etch, but yeah, this one just showed up. In fact, this was waiting for me when I got home. I had ordered this on HobbyLink Japan, and I had it shipped, and it was still it was like waiting for a month. I think it sat here until I got home. So now it looks like, oh, George is going Ingram, huh? All right, so George is going Ingram, and then we got Angel going VF1. So we got 2 for the Armored Valkyrie. I don't know. The Ingram's kind of cool though. I've had that for a while. Let me open the box up. Let's just take a look at this. Let's bring up the Ingram again. Let's see here. So let's find out what this bad boy is like. Oh yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff. Looks like I already opened this because I took out these little. This is that gray. It's kind of like a fat. It's almost like a tubing. This is what they use for those joints, like in the hip joints and the elbows, on the arms. There's a few pieces of this stuff, and I've heard nothing but horror stories about trying to use it. I mean, you can do it if you just have to do it right. That's the hard part about it. So, but I have heard people using large pieces of shrink tubing. If you know what I'm talking about, it's like for electrical repairs and stuff like that. I go, okay, it looks like Nick's going VF1 as well. All good choices. Ingram is so cool. As is the Regault. The tank would be different. Yeah, you're right. You know what? You got that right. I've been doing a lot of Macross stuff lately. So, see, this is why we do this process, right? So we can see what feels best. That's an old Tamiya kit too. I don't know how well that thing fits. I don't even know what paint scheme to give it, to be honest. But I built a couple of old Bandai Ingram kits back in the day. They're nothing like this new one. This is almost like a master grade, really, the way it's designed. The master grade Gundam kit, especially with the way they did all the runners. But I've heard people using electrical shrink tubing in place of this stuff, and it seems to work out pretty good. Flip a coin, Angel says. Flip a coin. I don't know. It would be nice, though. I mean, the only real unfortunate thing is that being a Bandai kit, it's like anything else, especially like a master grade. Look at this. Fucking stickers. I mean, come on. Come on, Bandai. Figure it out, man. We got to stop using stickers. Oh, look at this. Is that decals right there? That might be. Or are those more stickers? I got to put magnifiers on to see this shit. Heads, tank, tails, VF1. Nope, those are stickers too. So, you know what? Bandai, figure it out, man. I'm tired of using stickers on a high quality kit like this. Yeah, flip it around here. So George, let's see. What's George doing? I've been snapping. So you've been snapping up that Ingram for a while now, huh? When traveling, it's a nice kit. Oh, okay. Is it like every other Bandai kit that you don't need to glue? You can just pretty much snap it together and not have to worry about it? Because I know some of the Bandai stuff, like the Macross stuff, I don't think it fits together quite like the Gundams do, but I could be wrong. Hey, what's up? What's up? Big John is in the house. Fozzie Bear Customs is in the house. How's it going, Big John? Good to see you. We were just talking about what I'm going to build next. So I'll fill you in real quick. I got an Ingram here, Bandai Ingram from Pat Labor. Pretty cool kit. It's probably way better than the old school Ingrams were. I have this to choose from. Macross Regault Scout type, which is pretty nice. I also have two standard Regaults and one missile pod Regault as well. So something to think about. I didn't bring those out. Oh, I have this Armored VF1 under Macross kit, 172 scale. Let's see what's in store. Let's see, does this have decals? Of course it does. You don't want to know why? Because it's a Hasegawa kit. Of course it has decals. Hasegawa does it right. So yeah, there's a lot of similar parts I've heard with the 172 Battleroids. They share similar runners, and then they just add the armor pieces over the top. So, all right. So we got that, and last but not least, Tamiya M1A1 Abrams tank with photo etch. Now I don't have the tracks. I'm not going to go as far as like putting individual tracks. I haven't tried. I could probably research and see if there's any available, but this is a pretty old kit, so I'm hoping most of this photo etch is usable on this. It says it's for, see, this says cover late Iraqi version. I'm not sure if the exhaust will work or if both of these will work together. I'm not sure if I have to use one or the other because this is just a standard. Well, you know, it might, because this is just a standard M1A1 set, and then there's this one, which is for the Iraqi, late Iraq style. So I guess we could go for that, you know, and see. So, not worth it. What's not worth it? Are you saying not worth it, Dan? What's not worth it? I gotta close my windows here. My God, I'm getting so much sun through the window. It's giving me some glare. See if you can figure out. Oh, the indie tracks. I got you. Yeah. They're hard to do. I mean, I think the first time I saw anything like individual tracks, it was actually actually I sold this to Big John Fozzie Bear. I sold it to him. It was the one of those was it Dragon kits? Yeah, the smart kit it was a tank, and it came with tracks and some photo etch and some metal parts. It was one of those Dragon kits. I can't remember what tank it was, but he started it and then he got onto Gundams again and kind of put that one aside. I would love to see that one come back out of the box again. Not enough sag, and the armor covers them mostly. Well, I guess that does make sense. Yeah, if you're going to spend all that time making tracks, you want to see them, right? You still got it. Of course, you still got it. You just got to build it, John. Indie tracks best for World War I German stuff. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Dan, you and George could sit down and talk for hours because George is really starting to like doing armor kits, but some of the smaller stuff, I think, 172, I think you were going for? World War II, gotcha. Because I know George just did a Chinese armor kit. It was not a Chinese manufacturer necessarily, but it was a Chinese tank, right? If I'm not mistaken. Did some pretty good custom work on it to make it look more realistic and stuff like that. So I guess we'll figure out by the end of this show what we're going to do tonight. Time for aftermarket tracks, Panzermeister. So here we go. I'm not going to read this out loud. You guys can all see this now. Time for aftermarket tracks. Panzermeister 36 has been doing reviews on tracks. Oh, okay. So it's a good place to check. You can actually go there and watch a video on it and see what works and what doesn't, maybe. That's kind of cool. So, Anywho, I hope I didn't miss any. Oh, Dan said something about the Ingram back here I missed. This is the feet are weird looking. Let me look at that box again. Let's see what we're talking about. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. They're kind of like these big, wide. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so are you guys seeing this now?
I don't see anything.
It says I'm back. It says I'm back in. It says I'm back in. I can see it I can see my screen.
You can see your screen?
Yeah, I can see the broadcast screen. Time for aftermarket tracks. Yeah, geez. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell happened. Can anybody, you guys still got me on black screen?
I got a black screen. And I'm on the phone with
It says I'm back. George says I'm back. Oh, I don't know what happened, man.
Maybe I'm talking to you right now on the phone, so it's not showing me any screen.
I don't know. I'll hang up with you.
Yeah,
Is everybody else hearing me okay? Yeah, he says I see you. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there, guys. I was sitting here literally looking at my screen, and my broadcast window went black, and then my mouse wouldn't move. Nothing would move. I was like, holy shit, it just froze up on me. It's surprising that it still showed the the broadcast as running, because I came back in and anyway, let me restore that. I'm going to exit out of that just so I can get out of full screen just long enough to see it, because if I'm in full screen, I can't see the chat. So video is choppy though. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry about that, guys. I have no idea what happened. Said something about bad Bandai. That's what happened. They're watching, huh, Dan? I said something about the feet of the Ingram, and then they just said nope. Has the video recovered at all, or is it still choppy? Sorry, it's not any better. Still have black screen. Heading out. Yeah, try. Okay, well, good luck, Angel. Hope your MRI goes well. Sorry you got black screen. Maybe you got to reset your shit too. I don't know. So, I guess we'll. You didn't like that tank sitting there? Yeah. Maybe right. Maybe I shouldn't do the armor, huh? I tell you what. For now, I'm gonna fix my sanding stick here, because this thing I used the crap out of it, and I got to reapply. So this has almost like a Velcro type backing to it, and it came with these two pieces of sandpaper, and it's perfectly the width of this. So I'm just going to cut a new strip of the 400. This is 600. I think 400 seems to work better. So found you on Facebook. Okay. So George is going, armor needs some love. All right. Let me cut this paper, and then we'll talk about it. Hopefully the video recovers like it should. That was the weirdest thing. I have done several videos and never had an issue with live streaming or anything. I've got really good internet, so I don't know why that happened. I almost feel like when George is doing his Instagram stuff, sometimes an Instagram pops him out. He has to restart a video. But that's the first. That's the first for me. So yeah, you just put the stick down on top and cut a fresh piece of sandpaper, and boom, we're done. So I can put this away. What brand is that? Are you talking about the sanding stick? This is a razor. This was I can't remember the model number. I think I have it. The box. I don't know where the box went. It's one of the razor brands sanding stick. It came with several little sponges too, not just the sandpaper. I got let's see if I've got them nearby here. Everything's been kind of mixed around because I left for 8 weeks, so everything's all fuckered up in here. Here we go. Okay, so it also came with the balancers. So there's this is like a pretty fine. These are both pretty fine. This one's more like a polishing balancer. It says balancer on it. I don't know if you can see that. There it is, balancer. But this is more like really, really high grit for polishing. This one as well, but this one's a little more coarse than the white one. So the only reason I don't use these as much is because they are a sponge. And if you want a nice crisp edge, you're not going to get it with a sponge because the sponge kind of softens and goes over those edges. But you will get it with this because this is a nice machined aluminum stick. And then you got the different sandpaper you can put on it. Make it nice. To me, it should be nice. Simple kit. You can spend your energy on the PE and weathering. That is true, Dan. I'm going to put that up on screen. Okay, so I guess you're right. We need to do something different. I've been doing Macross builds for the last couple here. I just did that big one with the hanger, and that's all nice and good, but I haven't done an armor kit ever. I'm trying to think if I've ever built a tank. And I don't think I have. Well, actually, I had, but it was Warhammer. So let's get that clear. It was Warhammer, and the Warhammer stuff is unique in its way. It assembles weird, and it's not like this. You know what I mean? Yeah, what Dan said. Okay, so this is the next project. Then it's official. This is what we're going with. Tamiya N1A1 Abrams with photo etch. And what's interesting about this kit, it comes with, I thought it came with, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. It's got some netting in here, one big giant screw, and there's some windows in here as well. It looks really nice. I mean, as far as like the railings, the railings are pretty thin. It won't be like something like George had to deal with when he did that 1/7/2 scale kit. He had the stowage area in the back. You know, you can only mold plastic so thin, and at such a small scale, it makes it really hard to do that. So he actually scratch built new stowage grates or you know, the railings back there in the back of that tank to make it look better, look way better than the original, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, this will be fun. I'll have to open these back up again and look at what parts get replaced, where they go, so I can take that into account when I start assembling everything. Looks like I'll have to get my circle, the little circle. I've got one of those for cutting circles or drawing circles. It's one of those sheets of plastic. Use that really nicely when you're painting these, so you can paint the tracks, you know, the rubber portions, and then you put that right over the top and just shoot paint right on top. It works really well. So I'll have to do that. Yeah. All right, so let's open this shit up. Oh, that was cool. Oh, this has been where I bought. Yeah, Sprue Brothers. I bought the photo etch from them, I think, and they sent me this like a postcard in it that has a nice action shot of a M1A1 with a couple of warthogs in the background flying around. So it's one of those things. Let's see, what's this? What'd you say, George? I'd be happy to see you build anything. Well, thanks, George. I appreciate that. I always enjoy watching you in the mornings too, when I can get up or during my pee breaks, like you like to say, right? When I'm up there doing if I get up just in time for a late night pee break, I can tune in and find George. So yeah, this was Edward Model Accessories. So this was another receipt. I must have gotten a couple of packages. I think one of these came from Sprue Brothers and the other one came from Edward directly. But I got an invoice for Edward one there. This is just nothing special. And the instruction booklet. So I'm going to set the top of this aside. What time is it? Almost time for Kings hockey. Let's see what's going on with Dan. Oh, you see, okay, good. Everybody looks like they're back online, and everybody can see me. How's the video? Is it still choppy, George, or has it cleared up for you? Maybe you can answer that. What's up, Ken? How you doing, everybody? Meet Ken. Ken is one of the guys I work with. He's a talented new builder starting out with Gundam. They're blaming me for all the model kits they've been buying and adding to their backlog, but that's fine. You can blame me if you want. So anyway, Ken, we're just discussing what I'm going to build next, and that is going to be this Tamiya M1A1 Abrams main battle tank. All right. So let's go through this photo etch. Let's set this aside, make it easier. I got all this stuff, like it's a balancing act. I have all these boxes stacked up. What's up, guys? Good to see everyone. I am so happy to be back. I'm gonna get I broke some of my magnifiers over there in Arizona. I got to get a new set of I still have the adjustables, but I thought I did. Okay, I was gonna say I thought I opened all these to check them out. So seems to be clear, no choppiness. Well, that's good. I'm glad. Glad for that. I'm glad the broadcast. That was really weird. I've never had my computer. This is a fairly new computer too, and I've never had it seize up like that. That was interesting. So this is just the exhaust grills for the late Iraqi version of this tank. There's not a whole lot of instructions to the photo etch. There's going to be probably quite a bit of bending though, because you've got, I'm going to flip this around so you can see it a little bit better, maybe. I guess not really. But basically it's going to go over the rear exhaust of the original tank. So there's some pieces that you're going to have to cut off the original model. Looks like these tabs are going to have to be replaced with photo etch. And then this is the whole grill assembly that I'll be building here. And that will go right over the back end of the tank. And then there's also, I don't know if you have to fold this or not. Ooh, you do. Wow, that's going to be interesting. This is a long box. So this is like some bar stock almost. This piece here. It's got 3 fold lines, so you've actually got to make a long square box out of it, and that goes along the bottom edge, or the top edge. It's going to be interesting building this, but it looks like you can do this all in one shot. Like you build the whole thing and then you attach it to the model. So it's just a matter of taking your time and folding it, carefully. And what's up? That's my aunt. She's going to have to wait. I had to go see an attorney today, and she's wondering how that went, but we're going to have to find out later. So give me 1 second. I'm going to answer that text so she doesn't keep blowing up my phone here. And then I will keep going. Oops. So that's the exhaust grill for that. Let's see, how did this go back together? I think I'll just kind of fold it like this. There we go. So that's that. It's been a while since I looked at these, so I wanted to take them back out. So now this is the bigger one. This is a nice kit because it has all the little vents, grills. There's 2 sheets of photo etch in here. So yeah, you can kind of see everything here. There's some really good mesh. This is like a really thin mesh right here for the stowage area, I think. And then who's on now? What time is it? I guess it is getting close to 7 o'clock. So, and then there's some other pieces. There's some chains. It even looks like some kind of a, I don't know, it's almost like a control panel or directory. There's a couple of really small. Oh, there's even an ammo belt. Holy shit! And there's even like little seat belts and buckles. I don't know where those go yet, but yeah, this is going to be interesting to see those little things. I don't know if you can focus on that, but let's see if we can get it to focus. There's like an ammo belt right there in the upper corner. You see it? All those little individual rounds. That's going to be interesting to see. Okay, George got a question. Let's see. George, when assembling PE, do you solder or glue the CA? I glue it with CA glue. I've never tried soldering photo etch. That's an interesting question. Is that a thing? I don't know. Maybe Dan might know. I've never tried soldering it. Typically, I just use CA glue. I don't know if gosh, it's so thin. You have to be really careful when soldering it. So that mesh piece looks transparent. Yeah, it is transparent. That's what's nice about this, is that whole piece is transparent. You can see right through it. I mean, it's there and you can see the reflection on it, but when you hold it up you see the parts underneath it. So yeah, that's going to be a nice addition to the stowage area, having that nice steel grate. And then there's a couple of some other grates here, some round pieces, hatches, some tabs, looks like anchors, hooks, some really, really nice. I like the Edward stuff. I think I kind of got spoiled by it because when I did that 148, that F14, it was, oh, there's another one. Shit, there's 3 in here. Wow, there's 2 of these. 2 of these sheets. This is the part number 2. There's 2 part 2 sheets. I didn't realize that. And then there's this one, which is the part 1 sheet. But when I did that F14, I got spoiled by the Edward stuff because it was really, really well done, really well made. Only for large structural things. Oh, you mean like soldering, Dan? Is that what you're talking about? Hey, Kodokai, what's up? Good to see you, man. I know I'm back. It's been a long time. It's been, I think, 10 weeks. I'm trying to remember. I know I was in Arizona for 8, but I think I missed 1 week before I left, and then I also missed the week I got back because I was just exhausted and I needed some time. I needed a week to kind of recover and get back to normal before I could go back on. So I took last week off as well and then went back. So anyway, let's open these instruction booklets up here. Oh, nice. Okay. So I never tried. What do you solder it with a soldering iron, or do you use a torch? I'm curious because, like I said, I've never tried soldering photo etch, but I guess like for like the big exhaust grate that might work well for something like this. Because it's such a big piece that goes on the back, it may help hold it together better. I don't know. So looking at this, it's double-sided here. This is gosh, there is a lot of pieces on this. This is going to look nice. Okay, some of this is like a disc brake. So these round, those round pieces right there, those are disc brakes for, it looks like a disc brake that goes on the drive gear of the track, if I'm seeing that correctly. That's why there's 2 of them. That's why there's 2 sets of this. There's 1 for each side. Then there is some, looks like fender pieces here. There's some hooks. This looks, oh, there's a control. Okay, I was right about the control panel. That goes right inside or right outside of a hatch. There's also some small pieces that go on the glass. There's even a battery strap. There's a battery hold down and a battery tray. all these little pieces is all going to be on this little tiny sheet. And then we've got the nice thing about Edward too, I will say, is that their instructions include, now I don't know if this is true with all photo etch, it might be, but I noticed it with the Edward stuff, is that they'll give you the original part number of the kit you're building. So they'll tell you, like, this is kit part number, like for example, B61. So you know that when you're building that kit, you've got, that's the part you're attaching this stuff to. So it's easy to figure out. I've only used it for electronics. Yeah. Iron. I have nice, good range of digital. Okay. Yeah. I've only used it for, okay. Let's see what's dancing here, but I'd do it for the large storage box, especially hinged lid on some. Oh, okay. Wow. So you've soldered then photo etch on your tanks. I don't remember doing that. I don't remember you doing that, but that's good to know. And George doesn't have a soldering iron. Is that what we're hearing? Get one with a really fine tip, though. I mean, some of the bigger stuff are doing like, standard radio repair, electronics or something like that, right? Whatever. Those don't work that well. You got to have something with you can be very precise. The reason I got the one I got is because I do LED work, so I wanted to make sure I could just touch a little surface mount LED and solder it really easily. So, anywho, so there's another battery strap. There's the ammo belt. So that goes into, there's a machine gun mount on this, and the ammo belt comes out of that. That's cool. And on the back side, this was what I was looking at earlier. So there's two vents that go along, or two grates that kind of go along the front structure of it, and then a couple of fender pieces that go on the front. Then there's a second booklet here. Yeah. See what we got. Okay, this is for the stowage. So this is the original part for the back, the railings, and then you've got the grate that goes in the bottom. A couple of pieces around that. There's also a spool that mounts to the side of the stowage area in the back. What? This thing's showing decals. What? Why would they do that? Not included in this set. Well, then don't show me the mask. Oh, it's for masking. They have a masking set, I guess, you can get to put numbers on the tank, but it says not included in this set. So yeah, there's a number plate that goes on the back, and there's a spool, and there's small little spools. I can see these are the sides of that, those little round, those little spools right there. That's for the hose reel, I think, something like that on the side. All right, so this is going to be kind of fun. Looking forward to it. I'm hoping that this build 2 will allow me to do a lot of this stuff on camera. I'm not sure how Tamiya kits are how this is going to go together. I might have to have something on the side in case I need to like snap something together, just to have something to do, because if I'm in the middle of assembling something, I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to find out. But there's a lot to do here, a lot of photo etch work. That'll be fun to talk about for sure. So 7 p.m. my Pacific time right now. I'm just throwing these back in the bag here with the cards to keep them protected, and then I'll start looking at the regular build process of it. When doing this kind of photo etch, so you got to have all the instruction booklets out at once, so you can kind of see, like, oh, I'm supposed to replace this part with this, piece of photo etch, and then you end up with a bunch of paper spread across your desk. So a variety of sizes, any situation. Oh, there we go. Decals. I hope these are still okay. This is a pretty old set, but a little bit of yellowing. Hopefully they don't disintegrate when I go to use them. So it looks like the first step's going to be just building a bunch of wheels on the tracks, or actually the wheels themselves, not the track portion, but the wheels. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to pay attention to doing this because a lot of this stuff, there's going to be photo etch that's attached. Like this is one of the parts I was talking about earlier, this B48. There's actually some photo etch that goes to that. That's one of the little windows, it looks like, in the front on the turret section. Then you got the machine guns. There's going to be an ammo belt on that. So yeah, so this is going to be interesting to. What I'll do is like I always do, is behind the camera I've got on the wall here, I've got pegboard. I'll hang all the runners there, and I'll flip the camera around to the side so it won't get in the way, and then I can start building. But yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. If it's anything like most Tamiya kits I've built, it should fit really nicely. I don't think there will be too much of a problem, but we'll figure that out when we get there. There's going to be a huge seam to deal with on the barrel. It's like cut right down the center, so that's going to be a large seam fix. No big deal. There's some hatch work here, and there's probably some photo etch going to be done there. Not too many steps to this. There's only, it's like 15 total steps to this build. There's also a couple of figures that come with it. So you got two guys that are hanging out of the top of this tank. One guy's on the gun. Another guy's on the. He's just sitting there watching. He's probably the supervisor. The one dude doing nothing, just getting paid. The other guy's on the gun. Oh yes, time to switch over. Give me 1 second here. I am going to flip over to there we go. It's hockey. It's hockey season, guys, and it's playoffs. Gotta watch it. So Kono, if I'm not mistaken, that's Brian, right? Brian Denclaw? Am I correct in saying that? Do I remember? Is my memory serving me right? Tell me if I'm wrong. I can never remember these nicknames you guys have online. Mm-hmm. So, in celebration of tonight's broadcast, we're going to do a shot. Now, don't try this at home. But hey, I'm gonna. Just because I can. Let's see if we can demonetize this thing right away. This is Kurtzen Malted Umber, which is their bourbon style whiskey, which is 96 proof. Very nice stuff. Anyway, so that's that. What else is going on? Anybody else got anything exciting going on in their lives I need to talk about? I mean, I shared a little bit at the beginning of this broadcast about why I was gone for 8 weeks. And the answer is my mother passed away. And I talked briefly about it before I left, and everybody knew she had pancreatic cancer. Cancer sucks. It was almost astonishing how fast and aggressive that. I guess there's different kinds of pancreatic cancer, but that one, the one that she had, was the most aggressive, according to what the doctors told us. I mean, let's put it this way: she was diagnosed in October last year, and she passed away in February this year. So, I mean, it's just crazy how fast it took her. And granted, she wasn't in the best of shape. Like, just not she wasn't like overweight, or you know what I mean. It was like she wasn't strong enough to fight it. And by the time we got to the point where there was going to be any kind of treatment, it was already too late. It was already the point where she wouldn't even survive the treatment. So it was rough. It was rough to deal with. But the biggest headache was really the aftermath. It was the grieving part was one thing, but then it was just this mountain, this giant mountain of things that had to be done. And as if you've ever been an executor of somebody's estate, I don't regret doing it, but having gone through it, oh my God, my hair is probably 3 shades grayer than it was before, just because it's so stressful. It's so stressful. You're fighting with everything anyway. But anyway, 95% maybe of everything is handled. It's in the process or being done. And we will, we'll keep going. We'll move forward. Oh, thanks, Ken. Yeah, I know a lot of the guys at work didn't. I mean, I'm sure most people knew why I was gone or what, but didn't know the details of it. It was just, had I been just one of the sons, a beneficiary or whatever, and it's one thing to go through that, but as the executor, you have to there's so much you have to do, because you're literally settling every single debt, either whether it's selling stuff off or donations. I mean, we donated most of her things to a charitable, a thrift store that supports homeless, and that was our way of paying back. And then the neighbors that were friends with her, they got the things that they wanted. There were some things they wanted, we gave them to them, and and so on. Like the guy across the street, he was a mechanic, but he works on domestics. And there was a bunch of tools my dad had that were all standard size, non-metric stuff that I wouldn't use in my job. So I gave him the tools, so just stuff like that. It made the process easier, because we weren't trying to like sell stuff. We were just it would do my mother. She would feel good knowing that we were just, making other people, giving her stuff to good use, and my dad's stuff. It was a lot of the tools and stuff were my dad's, but it just sat in the shed for 6 years after he passed away. So sat there. So, but that's enough of that. Let's talk about model building. What's everybody building? I got 6 people I can see here looking at me on looks like YouTube maybe, or most everybody's on YouTube. Dan's on Facebook. What else we got? We got anybody on Twitch? I don't know. I lost the broadcast. They were saying it doesn't look like Twitch. Look like everybody's on YouTube and Facebook, so it's all good. It's always a messy process. We're still working through the reminders of it. Oh gosh. Yeah, sorry to hear it. I mean, I know, and it's like we're almost there. I mean, the day before I flew back, I was in a hotel by the airport, and I was just, went down there to be close to the airport because I had a really early flight and didn't want to drive 2 hours at that time of day. And we just sat there with my aunt and I, and I'm so glad she was there, because I said that was the only way I would have got through it with her. And we just kept each other laughing. We were, we cracked jokes, and we just to keep our sanity. But we sat there and made a drink, and we just looked at each other and said, we did it. We did it. Tactical, Ken's working on tactical unit commander, aircraft Genesis. Nice. You're gonna have to show me a picture of that tomorrow. We'll see what that is. So yeah, it was just so much work. It was so much work, and like I said, no days off, 7 days a week. You're just pushing, trying to get everything done. Because I'm just glad that Washington State has a medical leave program, state law that basically allows family members to care for another family member with a life-threatening illness. You have to send them documentation. I had to send the state her diagnosis, by the doctors, and they had to sign a form, and it's a little bit of a process to get that, but it allows you to leave for up to 12 weeks and get paid. So, I mean, yeah, I got to pay taxes next year, but at least I'm not worried about, money coming in while I was taking care of all this stuff. It was just a huge, huge pain in the ass. Like I said, not that I don't regret doing it, because it was an important part of handling my mother's estate. But man, it's hard. It's so damn hard. So anyway, like I said, let's get back to model building. I finished the Prime build, and then I started building or started snapping a Buster Gundam together, just so I'd have something to do. But the last several weeks that I was in Arizona, I didn't really do much building at all, because I didn't really have a space for it. But at that point, I was just burnt out, and I was just focused on trying to get home. And so I just really wasn't doing much. But I managed to do it. There's still a bunch of stuff still in Arizona at my aunt's house that she's gonna bring up in June or July. I think July. She's gonna come visit and bring everything else that we couldn't take on the plane. A lot of the tools, there's a fountain. There's a bunch of stuff that we're keeping in the family, and doing that. So, but anyway, cheers, everybody. So, I'm going to ask again, what's everybody building? Ken popped in, said what he's building. I think if Brian's on, I think he's doing he's got a dress-up kit for a sniper GM. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Oh, that's a Sim Pro. Okay. I was wondering what resin kit you had. Whether it was Sim Pro or not. How's the fit? I know you had to do a little bit of modifications to the shoulder. I think you were showing pictures of that online. But Sim Pro stuff is usually pretty good as far as fit is concerned. Don't seem to have to do too much with it. I remember the first resin dress up I did was for a 1.0 Sotheby master grade, and I had no idea how to deal with it. I mean, I didn't even realize that the stuff would be warped. I just thought, wow, this thing doesn't fit well. And I wasn't even heating it up or anything to try to reshape it. I was just holding it and gluing it, just not having the experience with resin at the time when I built that kit. It was a challenge, but fortunately most of the stuff fit pretty well, but I really had no experience up until at that point for resin. And so, yeah, you're still working at Macross March build the SD Valkyrie. I've got to get back on there and see that, because I've missed the last few of your shows. I haven't had the time to go back and rewatch them. And I got to see where you're at. I think I saw you working on the backpack. Might have been the last time I checked in. You were modifying the thrusters for the super pack on the back, but that's a cool kit. I've got one, actually, you know what, I'll bring it out. I've got one like that, and I think it's very, very similar to the one you have. Let me grab it here, see if I can find it quickly. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, I got two. I've got two, actually. I forgot a friend of mine gave me one of these. So here's the two that I have. This was actually given to me by Dan Salas, who's been on here tonight. This was signed by Tenjin. And there's a story behind this, because the year I left to move up to Washington in 2016, the last event I got to go to, and in fact, it was the day before we moved, it was Macross Worldcon in Torrance, California. And that's when I brought the 148 Valkyrie, the Valkyrie launch diorama that I built. They had a contest for customs and stuff like that, model kits and stuff. And the year before, I didn't have anything to bring, and that was the first year I'd gone. I went with Dan, and he brought one of his Valkyries, and just blew away everybody with it. So the next year was the last year. Thanks, George. The next year, like I said, was last year, or last event down there I was going to be able to go to at that time. I went and I brought the 148 launch diorama, right? And it just, everything there, anyway, I ended up winning. And I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get something cool, because I remember what Dan got. Dan got this nice model kit. It was all signed by Tenjin and everything like that. And The guy comes up with a bag and he hands me a bag and he goes, "You won," and he walks away. And I look in the bag and there's an $8 Destroid kit from like 1985 or something in it. That was it. Like, and some stickers, and I was just, I was I was pissed. I was just like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And later on, he finally told me, this is after I moved, because he wanted me to come back the next year. And I was like, no, I'm not coming back. You know, I brought the best thing on the planet that day. And you gave me, you know, your way of saying thank you was like, here's this $8, you know, Macross kit from the 80s. You know, it was almost like a slap in the face. But he was really embarrassed. He's like, you know what? Somebody took the prizes we were supposed to give to you and like raffle them off or something. Something happened. But he could have just told me that. Had he told me that, it would have made sense. But it was just like, oh my God, at the time. So anyway, the next year, Dan goes back and he ends up winning this with one of his kids, I think. And then he got it signed by Tenjin. And then he goes, here, this is to make up for that crappy kit you got as a prize the year before. Anyway, so thanks, Dan. That was nice. Yeah, this is 2 SD Con, which is Super Dimension Fortress. It should be kind of like the one. Actually, I think this is more like the one George is building right now. This is another friend of mine gave me this, and this is an SD armored Valkyrie VF1J. So I think this also transforms. I'm not sure. I'd have to open it up and see, but it looks like you can do unarmored here, like 3 different modes, or you can put it in armored version. So these kits are kind of cool because it gives you choices to build. Like the one he's building, there was several different. They're all SD, type designs, but I can't remember. George, you'll have to correct me on this, but I know one of them was the. It transforms, but one of them was has the sensor dish on the top, and the other one was just a regular, Valkyrie. So there's different ones you can choose. You can build 3 different versions of it or whatever. You use a lot of the parts for each one, but yeah. So one of these days I'll pull these back out of the cabinet again and build one. But yeah, this was a special gift from my friend, from Dan. Let's see what it looks like inside. It looks like an eggplant. Oh gosh, it's got a resin Minmay in here. I forgot that. Check that out. Okay, so you see the figure, or the Minmay in the China dress in front of the Valkyrie here. Yeah, there's actually a resin kit, a little mini resin kit of her in that dress. That's pretty cool. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I popped this thing out. So yeah, and there's even oh wow, check that out. Look at this decal sheet. I mean, for an egg plane, I mean, really, Hasegawa, you got it going on. Bandai, take a look. Come on, Bandai, get your shit together. Okay, stop giving us stickers. Hasegawa, man, they got this shit going right. Look at this. These are all decals, even these full-on the China dress and Minmay is all done on decals. So hey, man, yeah, Bandai's got to get this shit together. So I'm interested though, because I want to see. Is there another runner? No, that's it. There's that, but does it have the pilot? I don't know. I don't see. It's hard to see. I don't think this one's not a transformable kit. Yeah, it's just an egg plane. So just like that. The VF1J though, this guy, the armored one, that one transforms, but this one just has the egg plane. Okay, there. Well, no, that's not it. I'm looking for. Oh, it is. Okay, there's the pilot. So it's just basically like the head. There's not a whole lot in there. It's just a pilot head and the cockpit, the way it's set up. So that's pretty sweet, man. That decal sheet alone is worth its weight in gold right there. Wouldn't you agree? I know. For an egg plane, George, it's like, I mean, Hasagawa, they always put decals in their kits, and I expected them to do that, and it's fine. But that level for such a small little kit, it's just they just know what that's one thing. I think their advantage over anything that Bandai produces. So here's Bandai. Let's look at this now. This is the Bandai VF1J. And George will recognize some of this because a lot of the book is pretty simple, straightforward. Fighter, Gerwak, Battleroid, transformable. But then we dig down, and what do we find? Fucking stickers. Come on, Bandai. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it till my screen goes black. I'm gonna keep saying it till my screen goes black again. Get your shit together, Bandai. Stop putting stickers in these kits. Give us decals. Really. This would be fun, though. Like I said, a friend of mine gave it to me. And I told him one day, he gave it to me because he wants me to do it justice. And I will definitely do it justice. Man, that is a really nice resin kit. If you look at the detail. Come on, focus, camera. Focus. Come on. Trying to get that figure there on the side. It's got some really sick detail. Okay, fine. We'll go down here. Does it focus? There we go. I mean, look at that. For a tiny little resin kit, it's got some really nice detail. And then, of course, the eyes and stuff are probably decals, which is fine. Dan. Too late now, man. Look at Dan. That's George. Hold on. I should have taken those decals out of the airplane. Yeah, maybe, So yeah, there's a couple of sets. It looks like right here is the decals for the Minmay figure. Just a couple. But yeah, that's really nice. That's going to be a fun little paint job because it's a tiny, tiny resin kit. So painting that's going to be interesting. It's going to be hard to. It's going to be a challenge, I think. It's going to be a challenge. So, what else we got in the way of interesting Macross builds or other stuff for that matter? So here we go. We were talking about this the other day. George brought up the fact that he had a couple of Minmay figures from Max Factory. So I've got the Hikaru Chijo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Don't care. And then I have Lin Minmay, the final concert version. And then this I think I bought from Dan. This is the China doll version. So there you go. All from Max Factory. So all 120 scale, I think, right? Is it 120? Yeah, 120. So they'll work well with the 120 Gerwak that I have behind me. Oh, by the way, not this Saturday, but next Saturday is IPMS Spring Show in Renton, in Washington. We haven't had a show here for 3 years now because obviously August 2020 was it August? No, I'm thinking April. Excuse me, it's in April. April 2020 was right in the middle. Was like pandemic, whatever. There was no way anybody was doing an event then. And then 2021, of course, right in the middle of pandemic again. Starting to loosen up a bit, but still, anyway, then April 2022 comes around, and that's right when everything's really starting to open up, and we're kind of hoping we're going to get a show, and they canceled it anyway. So now, it's April 2023, and they're finally going to have an IPMS spring show in Renton. And so I have 3 years worth of builds to take to the show. And I'm trying to think of everything I need to take. I'm going to take the 120 Gerwalk for sure. I've also got the Master Grade Hainu Furcaw with the heavy weapon system. That's going. I've got the newest Valkyrie build, the hangar diorama. That's going. I've got the colonizer, the Iwata, the deep research colonizer spacecraft. It looks like an airbrush. I've got that. That's going. And if I want, and I'm going to, I think it would be interesting because I wasn't necessarily intending to bring this and put it on the table, but I think I'm going to take the F-14. I work on that. Oh, you work on that day, Ken? Oh, come on. You got to get the day off, bro. I know it sucks. So I'm going to take the Tamiya F-14, I think, too. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and I got the Star Wars Baby Yoda, the speed rack. That's 6. So that's 6. I can take that one too. That's 6 kits. Anything else? No, not that I can see. So at least 6 kits are going with me this year, which is nice because we really need it, and I need to blow off some steam. So let me put these back in the cabinet, and we will come back in a sec here. Let's see. Oh, here's another cool one. So here's another nice one. I want to show this one only because I've hung on to it for all these years because it has a similarity to that egg plane. Okay, this is a 172 scale VF1D basic, right? But you open the kit up. There's some photo etch. This came with it, right? Photo etch that came with it, and then where is it? Is this the one? Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It's not really wrong. But came with some photos, but that's not the one I was trying to get. Let me go grab it. I know which one I want to grab. It's a VF1D, but it's a Gerwalk. Okay. So let's put this back, and then we grab. Where is it? Come on now, help me out here. Where are you at? Where are you at? Oh, there it is. All right. So this is the one that I was going to talk about. You got to drop out? Hang on. What's Dan saying? You got to drop out. We're starting to make dinner. All right, man. Good seeing you, Dan. Talk to you soon, my friend. So this is another 172 VF1D, but it's in Gerwalk, okay? And what the cool part about this is, it comes with I thought it did. Oh, there it is. Little tiny bag. Comes with a 172 scale resin pilot. Got a pilot here and a little Minmay. Because, you know, when she's in the hand right there. So it comes with a little tiny resin, a little set of resin kits just for the pilot. And then it also has another little mini resin China doll dress Minmay as well. Kind of cool. So something to think about if you ever you're considering getting this kit. It's got those nice additions inside. Hasegawa doesn't really mention that much, but you see on the box, there she is there. Or, well, yeah, it doesn't really show it that picture, does it? No, just the two. You either got her sitting in the cockpit going, "Oh my God," or you got her standing up in the dress. So it's cool. You'll think you'll be sick that day? Yeah, I would too, Ken. I'd call in sick too. Yeah, you know you should. So Anyway, I thought I changed this game to my Kings game. Let's see if I can. Why is it not showing? Oh, that's nice. What's up with everything I own lately? It's just like all my electronics are doing stupid shit. Can't figure that out. Give me a second here. What the hell? Should be on right now. I don't know why it's trying to find my hockey game. I got it on in the background, but starting at 7:40. Oh, that's why. They're starting late tonight. Yeah, it's only 7:33, so okay. Yeah, and of course Angel, poor Angel, he's got his back issues going on. That's why he's going in for an MRI today. And, he's probably not going to be able to make the event because he's just struggling to even walk. I feel bad for him because all of us have been looking forward to this event for 3 years now. And he ends up getting in I won't go into too much detail, but some idiot hit him rear-ended him in a car, and then it started turning into a back issue that wouldn't go away, and now he's getting an MRI to see why. So hopefully they'll figure it out and be able to fix it, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it to the IPMS show just because he's in too much pain. Anyway, a few people left on here. Let's open these bags up. I wonder what this netting is for. I guess I'm definitely going to find out. It's interesting that they used polycaps in this. I'm wondering, I see the little glass piece in here too for the windows, but it's more like a plastic sheet that you cut the windows out. There's polycaps, and I was like, is that because the wheels actually turn or something? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. So I'm going to open these bags up. They're actually just stapled shut. That's how they used to do it. Back in the day, you could just take the staples off. And you didn't worry about it. Now you got to cut them open. So yeah, I'm really, really kind of impressed by the level of detail. Like these little grates right here. Those are molded really, really well. So even though there's going to be photo etch that's going to go over that, but even if you didn't have the photo etch, there's still a crazy amount of detail in that. And some of these handles and little buckles and stuff I know are going to be replaced with photo etch. But so far it's pretty detailed. This one has one of the figures in it, as well as some of the stowage parts. Should be for the road wheels. Yeah. It's weird though, because obviously the tracks aren't made to roll. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they are. Because these do go all the way around and then snap together. Actually, they go like this and snap together. So maybe they are made to roll. I always thought that tanks were like static. The tracks were static. They didn't move. But maybe these are made to move. So this has got the figure here. You can see his arms and his torso. Some of the other panels. God, there's some really tiny tiny rivet work here too. The details, that's what I like about Tamiya. Tamiya's pretty good at molding model kits as well. Hasegawa's got a pretty good set of molds, especially like their aircraft or the Valkyrie kits that I've been building. Those are really, really well done. I've not tried a Hasegawa, like a modern aircraft kit. I've heard they're a little bit more difficult to build than Tamiya stuff. So this is like two sets of, they're stuck together. Oh, there we go. Some of the pieces were just holding on to one another. So it's just all the wheels. Really, really well detailed. But what I was talking about earlier with that little hole set, here, I'll bring it down here so you can see what I'm talking about. So I bought this little sheet. And what's cool about it is you can paint these, the rubber portions black, and then you see you go here until we find the one that works. Looks like right there. There we go. And you just place this over the top, and you can spray the whole hub portion and not get your black wheels. And you can cut them off the runners off and do it one at a time, but yeah, you find the right size and then use it as a stencil. Back in the 70s, you can put little motors in them. You could probably do that now, Angel. Oh, you're still watching while the wife's driving? What? Of course, yeah, you said you were going to do that. That's good. Back in the 70s, huh? Come on, you're not that old. Yeah, you are. We are. We all are. All old people. Here's the main body. Just saying. Okay, one last bag here. Not too many runners to this kit. Yeah, so here's the whole rear exhaust section. This is where that photo etch grate's going to go over. Is this whole thing. So interesting to see how that fits, how that turns out. Some of the side skirt armor. I wonder though, because there's hinges here molded into it. There's like hinges. I wonder if it'd be worth cutting those panels to separate them. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too into it, but I like the machine guns here. I can see where that, like this one, I can see the slot here where the belt, the ammo belt's going to go in the photo etch belt. And some of these parts probably won't use because they're going to be replaced by photo etch. Like this, the battery straps on top of the battery packs. There's some, yeah, after looking at that photo etch set, I can see where some of that stuff's going to be replaced. And then we've got a standing figure here. I think this is the one standing in the turret well on the top. Yeah, pretty nice kit. So far, I'm liking the details in the molding. It looks very, very good. So once we get to that point, I'll hang them on the wall here, and we'll start building. I'll put this away. Kind of a nice little thing to buy. You can find them at most art stores or some kind of a art supply or something like that. So let's see. This is supposed to. Oh no, I guess it doesn't go that way. Huh. There's got to be some connection between these two halves. What am I missing here? Am I missing something? I'll look at the directions here and see how this thing goes together. So that goes on. Yeah, I am not seeing something right here. Because way this fits together, unless there's a piece. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but oh, gotcha. Okay, so there's wow. They use polycaps to mount the top armor to the body. This piece here. That's interesting. So they put two polycaps in the front here, and then this piece comes down directly on top, like so. That's interesting. I would never think that would fit that way. You'd think there'd be peg hole, whatever. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Interesting doing armor. I'm not done on 135 armor, so it's about damn time, right? Yeah, we're old, Angel, but we get over it. We'll get over it. So, where are we at? 15 minutes, maybe? Another 15 minutes or so. We'll call it a show. Hope I didn't bore you guys. It's been a while. I've been trying to get my shit together here so I can talk to everyone. Is that so you can remove the battery? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if they make. Actually, I know that Tamiya makes. They do. Tamiya makes some model kits that you can put motors in and batteries and stuff like that. So maybe at one point, maybe there was a some kind of a retrofit kit that you could buy that put a. You could put a. Yeah, you're not bored at all. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Thanks, George. Put a motor in or something like that. I remember once I bought my dad, and it's one of the things I was so mad. He loved the Titanic, right? He was just he had books on it. He had the movie, everything, and he had all these books. In fact, I found all the books when I was clearing out the shed in Arizona. But one day, he was meticulously. He had a model kit. It was probably from bow to stern. I think maybe 24, 30, maybe even 3 feet. I don't know how big. It was a pretty big model kit for a Titanic model. And he was building everything. He almost had it done. He had all the way down to like the rigging and stuff that before he stopped. He was just meticulously building that. And that was one of the things we did together when I was living with him years ago. So I bought him this Tamiya German. It was the battleship Bismarck, right? You made a move to blow them up. Shoot them with a BB gun. Oh, damn. Anyway, so I bought him this battleship Bismarck, and it had motors in it. There were drive. You had to fill these little chambers up with grease so the water. You could put this thing in water. It had turrets that moved. And the propellers moved. So you could literally set this thing in like a spa or something and let it just kind of go around in circles. And I told him, I said, look, I know he wasn't building as much anymore, but I had this kit and I bought it for him. And I said, look, if you don't build it, I don't care. That's fine. Just give it back to me, because I want to build it. I said, I don't care if you don't. If you decide, what, I just too much, or I don't want to do it, or whatever, just give it back to me. Well, anyway, one day I go back and I ask him, hey, where'd that go? Oh, I gave it to somebody. Like, really, dude? Come on, Dad. I told you. That was an expensive kit too, man. It was like really expensive. It was like a huge scale. It had to be 3 feet long. The thing was massive. But it had all these moving parts and everything, like I said. But anyway, maybe one of these days I'll have to buy one again for nostalgic reasons and build it in his honor or something. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, that's what I said, George. What the fuck? You know, it was like tools. He had a big toolbox, like a Snap-on toolbox. He's like, "Oh, these will be yours someday. I'm going to give them to you when I'm not using them anymore." And then one day I came over and the toolbox was gone. I was like, "What happened?" "Oh, I gave that to so and so." Like, Dad, stop telling. I don't care if you give it to somebody else. Just stop telling me you're going to give it to me, and then don't. You know. And so, anyway, where's my game at? I'm trying to find my hockey game, boys. Starting to piss me off here. There we go. Now we can put it on. Live on ESPN. What? So I can go over the home. I'm going to try this. Let's see this. I was watching on Hulu. What? Oh, come on. What is going on with my internet? I'm telling you, I'm having issues. All right, fine. I'm going to give up on that. This is dumb. Don't bill for him. Do it in spite of him. Well, he's been dead for 6 years, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Could be worse. My grandmother. What's this? Oh, it's James. What's up, James? You finally decided to chime in. Could be worse. My grandmother keeps trying to give my truck away. Well, you know, at least you got grandparents around to keep trying that shit. So, oh, good to see you, man. I'm glad you guys joined in too, because you know it's been a while. I've been trying to keep in touch with everybody with this chaos going on in my life right now, but let's see if we can bring it up on. Oh gosh, now both of them are going. How'd it go? You guys, give me a break. Just a second. I'm going to answer this. There. Now we don't have to worry about that. With all this stuff that's going on, family members are always chiming in, trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm updating everybody constantly. So, anyway, it's just, wow. Okay. So I guess choose provider. We'll see now it says choose provider. Why are you doing that? This is dumb. I can't find this damn hockey game. It's pissing me off. Let's go. Okay. Who spells out okay? You know, when I say okay in a text, I put okay, right? O and K. That's it. Who spells OKAY? I'll tell you, my brother. For some reason, he finds it necessary to spell it the entire word. I don't understand it. Eesh. Okay, so I guess we finally figured out what I'm going to build next, and that's going to be the M1A1 Abrams tank. So I get to put all these Macross kits back in the cabinet, or back in the closet. The Ingram's going to have to sit for another day. We will build that some other time. Anyway, it's getting about that time. I was going to try to stay on for about 2 hours today. It's almost that time, about 9 minutes out if we go to 8 o'clock Pacific time. It's okay, Mike. It's okay. I know, George, I know. But yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do some photo etch on it, do some weathering, make it look like a good old-fashioned Iraqi tank. I guess the paint scheme won't be thinking about that, because if I'm using that Iraqi, that late Iraqi, the exhaust grill, it'll probably look a lot like the box art here. It's not going to have this kind of camouflage finish on it. We're going to go. There's some actual real world pictures on the back of this, which is kind of cool. You can see an actual working, like a real world photograph of it. That's a pretty nice. That's a good picture or like a reference photo for weathering. It'd be really nice to see that. If you just I know what you're talking about, James, and you're not talking about a tank like this. See, we were talking about you earlier, because actually not talking about you, but I talked about building a tank, and it was a Warhammer tank. And now James is chiming in. If you want another tank to build, yeah, you should have told me. That's because you want me to do your resin one, don't you? Answer the question, because I'm pretty sure that's what you want. You want one of your big fat Warhammer resin tanks you want me to build, just so you can see what it looks like. That's the only reason you want me to do it. Not because you want me to do it. It's just because you want to see what I do with it, right? You have a couple. Oh, God. I'm talking about the big one, the resin one. But maybe they're both resin. I don't know. You showed me one that was like even bigger than the one I did before. Is that the one you're talking about? It's too bad you can't put photos on here. You could show me what you're talking about. Anyway, good God, man. Oh, the Mastodon. Yeah. It even sounds big with a name called the Mastodon. All resin. Yeah, I know. Oh, good God. Oh, you also have the Astrias? You have the warehouse full. Yeah, you do. He has a warehouse. You're right. That's all he does is buy Warhammer. Everything you've got now. Well, you got all the PG kits too in the world. I'm telling you, man. Oh, is your build studio done yet? Or did you just finally finish the video studio, the theater, or whatever you do that? I do have that 160 resins. Oh, God. A resin Zaku 1 sniper? Damn. That's crazy. Oops. I should have shown that for longer. Whoops. There we go. That's the one I'm talking about. Damn. Shop is up and running. Nice. That's cool. So now you can smash out some of that Warhammer shit yourself, right? If I'm not mistaken. You should be able to. Especially because you got room for that big resin tank you're talking about. Outdoor kitchen is going in now. Oh, wow. That's pretty badass. That's going to be cool. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be nice. Angel's got to get better first, okay? He says Angel, drag him over. His back is jacked, okay? He can't even drive. He can barely walk across a room, let alone drive right now. So you got to give Angel a break. It might be me driving his ass over, but I don't know if he can even sit in the car for that long. That's what I just said. Drag Angel over. All right, we'll figure it out. I'm just trying to get back to normal here. I've had 2 months of my life I'm never getting back. Oh, but I do have some nice pancreatic cancer pins if anybody wants one. They're purple ribbons for pancreatic cancer. My mother bought them. If anybody wants one, I will gladly give you one. Maybe you have a family member that has pancreatic cancer, or you know somebody that might, or you know somebody that had it and died. I don't know. But if you want one, I have some. So, yeah, Angel will be able to drive again. He's getting his MRI tonight. They'll find out what's going on. once they figure out what. So, by the way, James, now since you're in the room, are you going to drive all the way over next weekend for IPMS? Or are you going to stay in Spokane? Ryan likes the color. Ryan likes the color purple. Close enough. So it'd be nice to see you at IPMS, unless you're not going to come over here next weekend. Since you get your wife to drive your butt over. Nope, he isn't coming. I knew the answer before I asked it. honestly did. So anyway, my dudes, it's almost 2 hours in. I'm gonna call this one a show. I'm back in. We're doing this every week on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much. This is Mikey Wine again, aka Gundamonium Works. It's good to be back, and I wanted to make this a 2-hour show just because I haven't seen anybody in a long time, and I wanted to sit down and see my friends and talk to you guys and say thank you for supporting me and all the kind words you gave me through this whole process, and thanks for everybody being there for me when I needed you to be there, because man, it sucked. Hey, thanks, James. I appreciate that. Love you too, man. It was not fun, and we're still dealing with it. We still got, my ugly brother reared his ugly head, and so now we're dealing with that. But we will get through that too. Thanks again, George. Thanks for chiming in. I really appreciate you hanging out this entire time. I know it's late for you over there in Massachusetts, but yeah, man. Thanks everybody for coming in. We will talk to you again. We'll see you next week. I'll start working on this Abrams tank, and maybe we'll be doing some photo etch next week. So talk to you again. Everybody, thanks again. I really love it. Love everybody. Thanks for everybody coming. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. And we'll see you next time. Talk to you soon.